Hello Wolfpack, we're back again with another video doing Villain versus Rotten Characters review. This time we are doing another anime, Rising of the Shield Hero, where we will be comparing the villain of the Pope versus Myne Sophia, otherwise known as Multi-Melromark. This is going to be a little controversial, but I'm going to be doing this from the anime point of view, including some stuff from the book, but going no further than where the anime has gone so far. After the anime, we're not going any further with the character analysis for Myne. Now, we're going to start with the villain, the Pope. Now, we don't know much about the Pope when we first meet him, other than that he is the head of this church known as the Three Heroes Church. For those of us who have watched The Rising of the Shield Hero, we know this is a big plot point. They're supposed to be the four summoned heroes: spear, sword, bow, and shield. Now, Melromark, their state religion is the three heroes, and the shield hero is left off because the shield hero is seen as an enemy by Melromark because the shield hero is kind and good to demi-humans, where in Melromark it is known as a human supremacist country where demi-humans, for the most part, almost invariably are enslaved and discriminated against, as well as having gone to war with the demi-human supremacist country of Siltveld before. So the Three Heroes Church represents not only the state religion of Melromark, but also the human supremacist attitudes, as well as seeing the shield hero as somebody who is a devil or a demon. Now, the Pope, when we first meet him, he is overseeing the duel between the shield and the spear hero, which everybody knows is rigged in the spear hero's favor and is given victory to by the king and Myne. And the Pope oversees it, does not interfere. However, when Naofumi, the shield hero, goes to the Church of the Three Heroes to purchase some holy water to heal his demi-human companion Raftalia of a curse that he accidentally put on her, he needs to get a pure holy water, quality excellent. And when he tries to buy it, one of the nuns brings a very poor quality, which Naofumi can see through his appraisal skills. When the Pope realizes this, he turns to this disciple and basically reprimands her, telling her that she needs to show this man respect, that she needs to go and get what the man paid for. And then the Pope goes on a bit of a religious moment where he's telling everybody is equal in God's eyes and you need to show respect. And Naofumi just walks out of the church like, whatever. However, as the show goes on, we eventually realize that the Church of the Three Heroes is trying to frame Naofumi with kidnapping the second crown princess, Melty, and to discredit him in the eyes of everybody around, making him a criminal, which they'd already gone along with, as well as finally calling him a shield demon, where they claim that Naofumi has a brainwashing shield, which totally untrue. That power does not exist. And that's the only way anybody would follow him or listen to him, that he's a devil, which is like a wolf in sheep's clothing. Because when we find the Pope again, when we see the Pope again, it turns out that he and the church have been behind a plot to put the church at the top of Melromark. Whereas they've been on equal footing with the royalty so far, they are now attempting to supplant them using their fanatic followers who hate the shield hero and his kindness towards demi-humans. And using his fanatic followers, the Pope has obtained what is known as a holy weapon relic, which, even though it's only a quarter the power of the holy weapons like the shield, sword, bow, spear, it is still extremely powerful. So powerful. The one drawback to it is that it requires a lot of power, a lot of magical power, and it needs to come from somewhere. And in the case of the Pope, when he's using it to try and kill the shield hero and the other heroes, they are doing it. He is using his fanatic followers' life energy to do so, to power it up. And the Pope goes on this long rant against the four heroes that the shield hero has done good. He's cleaned up the messes of the other three heroes who have made messes all over the place. The spear hero cured a famine but caused a plague in the meantime that started infecting people. You had the sword hero who killed a dragon but caused a disease that killed a lot of people. And then the bow hero who went around as a vigilante, overthrowing certain rulers, but then leaving the countries behind, and they'd fall into disrepair. And he doesn't say anything bad about Naofumi, only that he is a shield demon that is leading the religious, the faithful, from their faith. Basically saying that the shield hero is a good man, but because of that, he's leading the people away from the three heroes church. And the power of the church and the faithful is waning. So when he attempts to kill Naofumi and the other four heroes, he's doing it partly to regain the faithful, but also to put the church in power in Melromark at the very top of the food chain, believing that they don't need the four heroes at this moment, that they need to get rid of them because the sword, bow, and spear are weak and causing problems, and the shield hero is a demon causing the faithful to move away from the three heroes church. And when Naofumi finally lands a significant killing attack on the Pope, he can transform this holy weapon replica that he's using, he can transform it into a sword, into a bow, into a spear, and into a shield, which would be extremely powerful. He uses the sword, he uses the spear, and he uses the bow to inflict damage and to fight the heroes. However, when the attack that kills him lands, he could have used the shield to save himself. But his principles and faith in the Three Heroes Church is too great for him to go against that. He believes in his faith so strongly, and the idea that the shield hero is a demon leading the faithful away, that he does not use the shield replica to save his own life. Now, I believe the Pope is a villain because everything he's doing from his standpoint makes sense. And if you look at it only from his standpoint instead of from the point of view of the main character or the point of view of a normal person fighting to save the world, everything he's doing makes complete sense in terms of the church. He's doing this for the church in his mind. He's doing this to keep the people in Melromark faithful to the Three Heroes Church. And the faith that is included in that is the idea that the shield hero is a demon, a devil, and that the three heroes are the most important, that they are the true saviors, and the shield hero is just a backup. As well as the shield hero is kind to demi-humans, which Melromark, which the Three Heroes Church, again, is the state religion of, is against. The Three Heroes Church is a human supremacist church. Many of its most fanatical followers we see in the series are people who hate demi-humans and will abuse them, enslave them, kill them, and hate them. So the Pope, when he dies, he doesn't go against his principles of faith to save his own life, which some might call that stupid. The faithful would call that principled. As well as he did show respect to Naofumi because he said the shield hero has done nothing wrong. He's actually cleaned up the messes of the other three heroes. But because of that, people are losing faith in our church. And he's a devil, which means that at some point he's going to turn on you. He's going to reveal himself to be a true demon. That is the faith of the Three Heroes Church. So that is why I believe in Rising of the Shield Hero, especially in the first season. The Pope is the true villain, or at least the main villain, and not a rotten character. He does not give up his principles even to save his own life. Now I'm going to go into Myne, Sophia, or Multi Melromark. she is probably one of the most rotten characters I've seen in any anime, let alone any show, and read in any book. There is no redeeming qualities about this character. Now I'm going to point out some things about her that might be considered pros, although I don't think so. She is beautiful, she is smart, and she is able and willing to fight. Now, apart from all that, she is absolutely despicable. We first meet her where she is going to go on adventures with Naofumi, the shield hero, when nobody else volunteers because the shield hero is looked down on in Melromark. She volunteers to join him as a adventurer. However, when the next day after they've gone through one day of adventuring, she's been kind to him, she's been nice, she's been kind of flirty. The next morning, Naofumi finds that he has been robbed of all his stuff, except his shield and his underwear. He's got nothing else. And when he tries to find Myne, he is arrested by the guards, taken to the castle, and accused by the king of attempting to assault Myne. And Myne says, yeah, he got really drunk and he tried to do this to me, but I managed to get away to the spear hero who protected me. I gave him this chainmail that I bought with Naofumi's money. And when she thinks nobody else is looking and is staring at Naofumi, she does this. And you can just tell that she had set this up from the very beginning. And most likely the king knows that she might be lying, but he's too blinded by his hatred of the shield hero that he has to, as well as just listening to his own daughter, who we don't know at that time is his daughter, but he listens to his daughter and believes her implicitly. And so Naofumi's reputation is ruined. They can't kill the 4 heroes without having to summon more, but you have to kill all 4 to summon more. So they spread the word of what Naofumi has done, and the shield hero is already disliked in Melromark already, so this puts him way in the tank, like bottom of the ground scum. And the next time we see Myne, Naofumi has obtained a slave, Raftalia, who he has not treated as a slave, he's treated her as a person, and has become their companion. They've become friends. And she becomes his sword. But she's a demi-human. So when he goes to the Dragon Hourglass to find out how long until the next wave comes that they'll have to fight, the spear hero shows up with his party members, including Myne. And when Motoyasu, who's a womanizer, sees Raftalia, he tries to ask her to join his party, only to learn she's joined the shield hero. She's with the shield hero. And Myne is telling Motoyasu, why are you being kind to a demi-human? When the wave is defeated and there's a big banquet at the castle, Myne influences the spear hero Motoyasu to challenge Naofumi to a duel to free Raftalia, because Raftalia, as he learns, is under a slave crest from Naofumi. So Motoyasu, thinking he's being a good guy because he's come from another world where slavery doesn't exist anymore, he's telling Naofumi, you need to free her. Naofumi's like, slavery's legal here. I don't have to. The king forces him to accept a duel to free Raftalia if he is defeated by the spear hero, which is rigged from the beginning, but Naofumi is winning. He's beating Motoyasu until Myne uses wind magic against him blatantly in front of everybody to knock him over, and Motoyasu defeats him. And when this is pointed out by others, the other two, when Naofumi loses the slave crest of Raftalia and realizes that she's gone, Myne is talking to him. telling him, oh, what's the shield hero going to do now? You've lost your only companion. You can't level up anymore. Oh, I guess that's too bad. And she's just laughing and laughing and laughing at him. But then when she's confronted by the bow and sword hero saying, no, you interfered with the duel. And she's like, no, it was the shield hero who interfered because he brought monsters under his cape. Because he can't, but they're like, hey, he can't inflict damage, so it only makes sense that he brought something with him to the duel. Otherwise, how's he supposed to fight? That's not a fair duel. She makes that same argument when the king is giving out the spoils, the reward money. He gives around 4,000 to the other three heroes. But he's supposed to give 500 silver to Naofumi. But he says, oh, because we removed the slave crest, we're deducting that from your funds. So you get nothing. And it was Myne who came up with the idea. And she's making the same argument to the other two heroes who say, hey, you can't do that. He did fight to save the village. When we were fighting the boss, he did do his job as a hero, so you have to pay him. And Myne does not like this at all. So when Myne and Motoyasu arrive at the village that Naofumi saved, which is in the process of rebuilding, Myne immediately gives the land to Motoyasu as its new governor and says that to enter the village or exit the village will now cost 50 silver. Every entry and exit of the village will cost 50 silver. And Naofumi points out that, hey, it costs 1 silver to stay a night in the village. Food and an inn room. And Motoyasu's like, well, that's not so good. But Myne is like, just get out of here, shield hero. And when other villagers are like, hey, we want the shield hero to be our governor instead of this guy. We can't afford that. And she's like, how dare you even question this? And she's getting the soldiers ready to attack these villagers. But she is stopped by these quote-unquote shadows, which are like ninjas that are apparently the queen's informants. And they basically stop her from doing what she's doing. But she challenges the shield hero to a race with his mount. And Motoyasu with his dragon, Naofumi with his Filolio. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but basically a bird that he can ride and race with. And during the entire race, Myne's group are using magic to put holes in the ground, to slow down Naofumi, to speed up Motoyasu. Even with all that, Naofumi manages to win the race. When we next see Myne, Motoyasu is attacking Naofumi in the streets for reasons, and Myne pretends to proclaim that this is an official duel in the middle of the street that's causing damage to the villagers. But she's stopped by her younger sister, who is the official heir to the throne because of Malty's personality. And obviously Malty does not like this. And when she's confronted by her sister in the anime, where Malty says that, oh, father was doing everything in the name of the country. We all know the shield hero is a danger to us. And Malty's like, well, I understand your opinion, sister, but it means nothing. And obviously that infuriates Myne. Then there's an assassination attempt on Melty that the shield hero stops. But because of magical manipulation of the crystal ball recording that was taken of him saving her, it looks like he's taking her captive and kidnapping her, as well as killing the guards. And Myne uses this, that she orchestrated this attempted assassination and framed kidnapping, to claim that Naofumi has a brainwashing shield, and uses this to persuade the other three heroes and her father to hunt down the shield hero and rescue Melty. But Naofumi knows that if Myne gets a hold of Melty, she's going to just have her killed somehow, even if he surrenders peacefully to the other heroes. And it's very clear to the bow and the sword heroes during the fighting that Myne is attempting to kill Melty. Because even though she says, oh, we need to save her and keep her alive, she's using magic that could kill Melty. And they see this with their own eyes. But she's like, hey, if we can't free her of the brainwashing, what's it going to matter? So when they attempt to investigate the other two heroes, they are attacked by after Myne informs the church. They're investigating the church. Myne informs the church, and the church tries to kill the two heroes, bow and sword. And then she and Moriyasu attempt to capture and kill Melty and Naofumi when they show up again. And Myne tries to burn down an entire forest just to catch Melty. During the fighting with the church, the Pope, she fights alongside the shield hero very reluctantly. But as soon as it's over and the queen has arrived, her mother, she immediately blames Naofumi, the shield hero, as having a brainwashing hero, of having attacked her, of kidnapping Melty, all the lies. The queen's hearing none of it. She takes the king and her daughter, Myne, back to the castle, where she puts her own daughter under a very powerful slave crest. So she can't lie without feeling pain. But the entire trial, the entire time she's interrogating Myne, through the end with the crystal ball showing the whole Melromar country, Myne denies everything. She claims that the shield hero attacked her, that she wasn't trying to kill Melty, that she wasn't trying to ascend the throne, that she was doing all this in the name of her country. She didn't lie about anything. It's all the shield hero's fault. Every time she does this, she is hit by this slave crest. Every single time. And she continues to lie. She only admits it under the slave crest's pain. That's it. And so a little difference between the anime and the book. In the anime, Naofumi, the queen sentences her daughter and the king to death, but in the end, Myne, under the slave crest, pleads with Naofumi to save her, and Naofumi decides in the end that he's not going to kill those two, but he's going to have them renamed. Stripped of their royal titles, she's going to have them renamed. Their official names, the king will be Trash, Myne will be, I can't say it on here, but she's renamed B-Word. Later in the book, she's renamed Witch by Naofumi in his head, so I'm going to use that. And her adventure name, which she uses as an alias, is going to be Whore. And when he does this in the show, it's obvious that Myne hates this, but she is forced to accept this. But then she also tries to poison Naofumi almost immediately after. In the book, as soon as this happens to her, because this is the only punishment that Naofumi will accept other than death. He wanted to kill them, but the queen says, I really can't do that because the political repercussions would be too big. Would you prefer? I would like to do something else. And so Naofumi settles on renaming them, as I said. But at this point in the book, Myne is like, how dare you do this? How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? I will never forgive you. I will kill you if it's the last thing I do, shield hero. I will have my revenge. After Naofumi has defeated the spirit tortoise, has gone to another world to help save other heroes, has come back, he's looking for the other three heroes now because they've gone missing. And they've all been either abandoned by their companions, like Moriyasu, or their companions have died, like Ren's, the sword heroes. So Naofumi finds Ren first, and it seems like Ren has always been the most reasonable of the other three, and he's about to go with Naofumi, but then Myne shows up and manipulates the sword hero by saying, I believe in you, you weren't wrong, it's the shield hero, it's all his fault that your companions are dead, it's not your fault. And so Ren fights Naofumi and then transports himself and Myne away with his skills. When we next see Ren, he's wearing shabby armor, has a mask on, and he's fighting as a bandit chief, trying to gain strength. And it turns out that, like Naofumi, who had the curse series of his shield, the curse series skill, it was for Naofumi, it was wrath, his anger. For Ren, it's greed. And it happened because it was triggered because Myne betrayed him by during the night after they went to sleep, she stole all his stuff except his sword, money, clothes, everything, and left him a note telling him how stupid and easily manipulated he was just by having somebody believe in him. just completely insulting him the entire time. And she enjoys it. She writes ha 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 in the letter. And finally, from the anime we've seen so far and the books that I've read, Myne has also found Itsuki, the bow hero. He is fighting in the Colosseum of the mercenary country, where he is fighting to clear his debts that were incurred by Myne when she found him, and claimed that he was still a champion of justice, that he was still a great person. He just needed to keep fighting for justice. And then she accumulates debts for him, basically putting him in debt, steals all his stuff, leaves another letter insulting him, saying that his sense of justice is so stupid that she can't believe he fell for it, and again leaves. Just disappears. And we don't see her again for the rest of the anime so far. We've got another season coming up. So Myne, as a character, is completely rotten. As I said, she can fight. She has a cleverness and brains to her. And she's pretty. But everything else about her is absolutely rotten. Everything she does is just for herself, to get more money, to get more power, to get pleasure out of tormenting people. She loves the psychological harm she causes to Naofumi, to Moriyasu, to Itsuki, to Ren. She wants to be the crown princess, but she's been passed over by her younger sister because has such a horrible personality. Her own mother could see it and passed her over. And Myne is absolutely going to become the heir to the throne. There is nothing Myne won't do except be kind to get what she wants, which is to obtain more power, obtain more money, and to torment those beneath her or perceived beneath her. She is racist towards demi-humans. She never acknowledges them as anything but lesser. Whether she believes that or not is hard to say, but she only uses them. She uses men, powerful men, to achieve what she wants. Money, power. That's it. Everybody around her is for her to use and abuse. That's it. And it's not even like she wants to live a quiet life as a princess. She wants the power to do what she wants, which is torment people. She has no interest in being a good ruler. She has no interest in any of that. That's why the Church of the Three Heroes was able to manipulate her into framing the shield hero for kidnapping Melty, because she is so desperate to become the Queen of Melromark that she's willing to ally with the church and ignore the outside world of the waves, which are going to destroy their entire world, including other countries, including their country. She's willing to ignore all that to become Queen of Melromark, which includes killing her own sister. So she uses her body, she uses her cleverness, and she uses her skills as a fighter, what they are, to obtain what she wants and just abuse it to the nth degree. When you watch the show, when you read the books, you see just how awful a character she is. She has no redeeming qualities to her. None whatsoever. Even her father, who hates the shield hero probably more than she does, is appalled when he learns that she was going to kill her own sister. So, I know this was a longer video, but there was so much to cover with Myne as a rotten character. Again, I think she is the most rotten character I have ever seen in an anime. There's probably others out there who will disagree. That's fine. But again, I believe the Pope was a villain because he had certain principles he did stick to, and when you look at it from his point of view as head of the Three Heroes Church, it makes sense what he's doing. What Myne is doing is entirely for herself. She has no principles. She has no sense of moderation or kindness, nothing. It's all about her and her desire to hurt other people while obtaining more and more power. I know this was a long video, guys. So much to cover on this rotten character. Thank you guys for listening. Please leave a comment down below. Like, share, and subscribe. Take care, my wolf pack.